And welcome back, everyone, to another Nerd TV broadcast to open up the RSR Next Generation Cup Series here for the 2024 A season at the virtual Daytona International Speedway, presented on iRacing for the NERDtona 200 here. And we got a stacked field for here this evening to open this thing up on our Tuesday broadcast for RSR. Weather on the track right now, 78 degrees in the air, 46% humidity, which is a little more than what we saw a couple of days ago on our Sunday broadcast. Partly cloudy, no wind, so it should be straightforward heads up racing for these guys here in the Next Gen Cup Series. My name, of course, is Jeremy Stanley, aka to my right hand side, Mr. Jason Rockefeller, who has 9.5 fingers right now. How's it going over there?
Yeah, we got about 9.5 fingers right now. We're bleeding, so I'm gonna make a band-aid here in just a minute. Thanks, Lionel Diecast Cabinets. But yeah, man, I'm excited. For us over here at Nerd TV, we were talking about this from probably the start of the day all the way to just in the past 15 minutes. Me, you, Dustin, we all said, hey, we're really excited for the start of the RSR. There's Walter. He's not bald tonight. He's actually got the nerd cap on supporting that. I got mine up there, fell on the floor. Well, I guess that's what you get, Dustin. But, hey, I'm looking forward to tonight. Daytona, we saw a really good showing, obviously, for the Global Racing League Truck Series back just a couple days ago. I'm really looking forward to tonight's race. Lots of great drivers. Jeremy, this is going to be a really exciting season for us, especially since we're starting at Daytona.
I had the worst camera quality out of us three here, so I'm excited for that too.
Starting it off right. Let's go.
Walter. That's right. That's right. The guy to my left here, he's going to be doing all the cam work, as you know, from last season, who can watch us from back in 2023. Weird to say that. But yeah, he's going to do all the cam work. So if you have any complaints or gripes, send it over to his way, not my way. Me and Jason are just here for the verbals. And we got about 3 minutes left in this practice session, 3.5. And times are pretty tight, other than that Nolan Potter 34, 2/10 faster than second place, which is almost unheard of at a super speedway. So he must have been towed with some draft for sure. No qualifying here this evening. That was settled by the duels, just like almost every Daytona season opener goes. So you're going to see Jeff Chandler. He's going to open this thing up. He won to start off the season, and then Matt Hayden will be on his outside starting second. Everybody else will just kind of follow in suit, and we'll figure out what that lineup looks like here in about 3 minutes. I'm looking forward to it. 2 of 2 for the week. We do this on Sundays and Tuesdays. And yeah, man, next gen cars, these new Camrys look awesome. The Mustangs look great. If you use the right template, you're going to see a mix of templates out here this evening from what I've seen. And
leave it to the painter to sit here and be critical.
That's right. I have one job. I have one job to do, and that's it.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see, obviously. I just got done calling the Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach 1 Performance Cup Series, which we all know from last season. In fact, some of those guys came over this season. In fact, Richie Coy joined late in the year last year. Now he's brought along Jeff Chandler. Richie's not able to be here tonight due to some real work, but Mr. Jeff Chandler is. And like you mentioned, Jeremy, I believe he did win his dual race just a handful of nights ago. He is going to be one that's definitely going to be a threat this season. Jeff has been working on his craft these past 2 seasons all the way from FTSR, and now he's going to translate that into FTSR. The more sim time that you have, the better you become as a driver. Just drivers to look out for this season. Ryan Bean, easily the most dominant driver last season. 10 wins, 18 starts, 17 top 10s. Only one time did he finish outside the top 10, and then he had 16 top 5. So you think about that. 2 times he finished outside the top 5. That is absolutely crazy. And he's one of the 8 drivers that completed all 18 races. But him, Brock Potter, who made the Final Four, Nate Campbell, who was super duper strong and probably was Ryan's biggest competition last year. I assume he doesn't want to be the bridesmaid to his teammate this year over at Stealth Motorsports. And then obviously you have drivers like Brian Fine, and we were going to say it all year long. He's going to be riding that fine line and that fine beer machine. And then obviously the guys coming over from FTSR, Richie Coy looks to make his opener this season for, a full season. And then obviously you have Jeff Chandler making his start full-time here in the RSR Next Gen Cup Series. So a lot of things to look out for this season. It's going to be exciting for sure.
I was over in the Nerd Motorsports channel, of course, talking to the team prior to this event, and they are thrilled, excited to get this thing underway. They said they got the best teammates, they're going to have the best teamwork, and they are looking forward to this race, the season opener, NERDtona 200 here. Field is set for grid, so it's our time to get our faces off your screens. Dustin, good luck out there. And hopefully Jason will keep you extra busy like he usually does every single
Always
event
do.
we put on, for sure. 100%. So you see the cars starting to line up now. We are going to go over the starting lineup here for the NERDtona 200. Jeff Chandler, P1 there in that 31. Matt Hayden to his outside in the number 5. Second row, position 3, Dwayne Furtick. And then in 4th place to his outside, Nolan Potter. 5th, 28, Ryan Bean, last season's champion. 6th place will be Andrew Little. 7th, 77 of Aaron Spear. 8th place on the outside is Zach Schrenthal. 9th place in row 5 is Tony Ludi in the 88. And 10th place is the 6 of Rusty Modesty.
Yeah, and then you got rounding out your top 20. You have row number 6 goes to James Catrone there for Zab Motorsports. Justin Henry in Hauling Ass Racing's number 85. Row number 7, Michael Sheffield and Marc-Andre Thibodeau in the 27 machine. He'll round out there in row 7. Row number 8 goes to Kyle Gritch in the number 72 machine. Robert Fitzpatrick Sr. back in the number 12 machine. He's going to start 16th. Kane Lee for Hypersport. He'll start in the 91 machine in row 9 alongside Michael Carter in the number 8. Kent Mueller in the 26. And Nate Campbell, one of the guys we talked about, he's going to round out your top 20, Jeremy.
Nerd Motorsports driver Brandon Gagnon is going to be starting in 21st. 22nd will be John Velocity. 23rd place, Harold Watkins. 24th, Alexander Hodge. 25th, Anna Boughton. 26th, Kevin Zabladil. 27th place, you'll find the 99 of Kevin Ruff. 28th place will be Anthony Younes. 29th, Zach Wilson. 30th place, Steven Rasick. 31st, Richard Gonzalez. 32nd, Steve Potter. And tonight's last place car, 33rd, James Fitzmaurice in the number 33. And that is your lineup for the Nerditudes, or Nerditudes 200 here, NERDtona. And stacked field, a lot of new fresh paint schemes. Some cars you're going to recognize, some you don't. And, you know, we at least I did, and Dustin did, partake in the iRacing Daytona 500 virtually last weekend. And the draft package here is going to be key. It's going to be key, Jason. There is times where I was bumper to bumper with somebody, and that bubble that picks up somehow pushes your car back and can literally knock you out of the draft. So you kind of have to keep a little bit more heads up and not lose your partner if that is the case. Jumping over to the YouTube chats, Doyle Lawrence hot in there saying, hello, nerds, what's going on? Of course, he's rooting for his driver, Jeff Chandler. And Mitchell Owen saying, let's go Hodge. And on the Facebook side, Ryan Chapman saying, what's up, boys? And Zach Wilson and Field Tonight saying, let's go. But here we go. Pace car is down. Green flag's out. NERDtona 200 underway, Jason.
Yeah, and you see Jeff Chandler. He's going to get out to a great star there. But Matt Hayden, he's got some help right back behind him. That's Nolan Potter in the number 34 machine, giving him that shot all the way to turn number 1. And you see them, they're going to start to fan out, file back in line, sort of, as they hit the Daytona super stretch. And look out for the Potters this year. They're going to be strong as well.
Speaking of one of them, the number 34, have you ever seen a Pop-Tart sponsored cup car? I don't think you have, but now
Yes.
we got the Wild Berry. Oh, have you? At least I have not seen
Mark
it.
Martin.
I guess that's a throwback there. I should say in modern times here. He's rocking it pretty good through turns 3 and 4 on the outside, right behind that number 5 of Matt Hayden. Coming to the line that looks like that 5 machine will take the first lap completed in 2024. I see Michelle Rittenberry saying, let's go Kevin Lee Ruff. Every single time we have a broadcast, expect Michelle to be there cheering on that 99.
Yeah, and Kevin's got a lot to obviously go for here tonight in that number 99 machine. You look back, obviously last year, he had a win, and it actually came right here at Daytona, right before the start of the playoffs, I believe it was. He did super duper good and obviously took home the victory. He's looking to try to add another Daytona win, and how cool would it be for Kevin Ruff to obviously take the BestOne tire machine back to the front of Daytona and get 2 Daytona wins in a row.
And speaking of how to get your wins, victory fuel, keys to victory here on your left-hand side. No pushing the pusher. So when time gets to pushing, don't be pushing if you're the 3rd or 4th car back. Top line momentum, it's very hit or miss in these next-gen cars. It can be very strong, and sometimes you'll see them run up against the wall being the fastest lane. So expect that to be somewhat of a factor here this evening. Find your partner. You have plenty of laps, 80 laps to get that job done, to find your partner and find the person that's going to get you to victory, and avoid the big one every single time you load up a super speedway event. That's bound to happen, so you have to keep your eye out and make sure you try to avoid it at all costs.
And one thing to know, and obviously you guys, did some partaking there. I was losing my voice for a second. You guys did some partaking in the iRacing week at Daytona. Unfortunately did not. But one thing about these Cup cars, Jeremy, and I heard it at least in the other day with the FTSR Mach 1 guys. They were talking about how if you got out of line and you didn't have the help, you were really going to stall out here. So if you're going to be able to make runs tonight, you're going to have the help. These cars are so sensitive. You think back, obviously, to yesterday's 66th running of the Daytona 500. You had mostly 2-wide racing throughout the entire field, and you really couldn't get anywhere unless you had the help. So that's obviously going to be a big factor here tonight. You see Jeff Chandler. He makes a move, nearly scrapes the wall coming off turn number 4 right in front of Matt Hayden. He'll jump back down to the bottom, and Jeff Chandler, just like that, is going to lead here with 75 to go.
And that scheme black and white looks so good out there. Chrome numbers against that flat paint scheme. If it could just not color the fuel cap and the taillights, I think that thing would look even so much better. But of course, those are sim stamped. Getting some good help there from the 34, the 5, Matt Hayden. Great momentum here with quite a few drivers there on the top, being Andrew Little right behind him, and a few others. Some of the naturals here at RSR Next Gen Cup Series, and coming through turns 3 and 4. It's kind of surprising to see the outside have more numbers early on here. Sunday we saw on the trucks all inside to start, but these guys know that the outside here in these Cup cars is definitely stronger.
Yeah, and really that's all just because obviously the more you climb the banking, the higher up you get, so you can carry more momentum off these corners. We talk about this at Daytona and Talladega and obviously the new Atlanta, but it is definitely nowhere to be shown like it is here at Daytona. You get the run off the top side with help from behind you, obviously, and you just haul the mail. You are absolutely hauling it for sure down these straightaways off turn number 2 and off turn number 4. That's why you're seeing, Jeremy, this outside lane be so strong right now, and that bottom lane doesn't really have a lot of help. You see Jeff Chandler kind of just falling back a little bit right there with some of the other guys behind him. They just have nowhere to go, so if I were them, I would definitely be tucking in the line pretty soon.
Yeah, you're going to have to get to that top side here. It looks like if you want to maintain your position in the race early on. Mike Martino the third saying, let's go Andrew Little. That is that number 68 driver currently sitting in P2, right behind the 5 of Matt Hayden and right in front of the 2 of Zach Strenthenall, one of the few drivers that were from last season that has a brand new paint scheme this season here. And then, yeah, just only a few there on the bottom, plenty on the top. And see a little bit of spacing happening there, about 6 or 7 cars in line. That's going to temporarily allow this inside lane to close in a little bit as Jason, they're picking back up in numbers down there.
Yep, trying to, and obviously, I mean, if they do get the numbers down there, they can. But one thing you're not really seeing them do, Jeremy, is they're not really getting up close to that lane up on the outside lane. And that's a big thing here with the Super Speedway package that's been with these not so next gen anymore cars. You have to side draft. If you could pack air on the left or the right rear of these cars and pull the car back, suck them back necessarily, you will get ginormous runs. You will break apart those lines. So you're going to see maybe later on in this race, not so much now because they don't want to be aggressive, but later on in this run here, or in this race rather, you're going to start to see guys try to utilize that side draft to their advantage and put other drivers at a deficit.
Yeah, 100% there. Quick shout out to one of the partners here this evening, Waterford Concepts LLC. Waterford Concepts is a leader in engineering, 3D printing, 3D scanning, and composite manufacturing, focused primarily on automotive, RC, and motorsport. Water Sport Concepts is your shop to make ideas a reality. Visit them on Facebook at facebook.com/Waterford's Concepts.
Noticing this bottom lane right here, Jeremy, is starting to get more organized like you had just mentioned. They were probably back there, I want to say, next to, I want to say that's Kevin Zabladil in the iRacing red, white, and blue type colors there in that 15th spot and 17th. They were right around him about a couple laps ago, and now that they've gotten a couple more cars and more keep joining, they're noticing, look at this line right here, led by the 27 machine of Mark Thibodeau, and he's got a great run. He's got some great help from behind him. You ride on board the hood cam. They've been able to close all the way up inside the top 5 here. Don't be surprised if these guys up on the top lane, maybe like the 2 of Zach Strinfenol, he was thinking about it for a moment, thought about jumping down. He still has some time, but obviously if you're one of these guys in the top 3, if you want to make a run for this lead, you're going to have to jump down now.
Yeah, 100% there. I noticed at least 1 or 2 of the drivers caught in that little bubble situation I mentioned right before the green flag. 24 Richard Gonzalez fell out of the draft, just virtue of being the last car in line, and got pushed out. So he's just kind of rolling solo himself here as you're riding on board with your race leader. Coming through the line this time, right on the inside of Matt Hayden, is that number 27 of Mark Thibodeau. There's Doyle Lawrence. I said that is his paint scheme, and it still looks awesome no matter who's driving it. But, you know, that should be a compliment to you for sure, as he was so close leading, or almost leading that lap, only 9/1000ths away. They see one of the slow cars here started on pit road. That's Steven Rasick. He's going to go to the bottom, at least momentarily. He's going to come back up the track, and this should force a little 3 wide.
Yeah, and this also could really break apart some of this right here. Maybe some guys from that bottom lane want to take a run, or maybe this 21 machine of Steven Rasick can actually fall in line. You already see him right now. He's going to be able to have a little bit of a tail draft from some of these guys riding this bottom lane, but he's fallen all the way to the back, and you could just see, Jeremy, how much of a difference it means when you're one car against a whole pack of cars. There's one driver popping out of line. I believe that was a 23 of Harold Watkins down to the bottom of the racetrack, and it cuts right in front of Steven Rasick. And just like that, Jeremy, with those guys navigating from the bottom, going to the middle, filing back down to the bottom, Steven Rasick was able to catch a sniff of the draft, and just like that, now he's back right in line.
I have to make a quick little ha-ha. Last night, Dustin was telling me, hey, I want that baseball paint scheme. And then we put the camera on him, and guess who's out there on the field? The number 15, John Velocity, running the exact scheme that our producer wanted. So there you go. That's what it looks like on a next gen if you wanted to run that. Paint scheme looks pretty fresh, looks pretty clean. I love it a lot. Just a quick mention on that one for one of the newcomers here at RSR. Still at the point, the number 5, Matt Hayden, has a 3-car train behind him, single file, before the inside lane, now run by the 34 of Nolan Potter. Going to make a good run here to get back to the front, but right now that outside just looks oh so strong.
Yeah, it looks really strong right now, but this inside lane obviously still has some momentum. You saw Harold Watkins jump back up to the top back there, and right there on the bottom, that's the 34 machine, and that, I believe, right there is Nolan Potter. So Potter in that Toyota Camry, he's doing a great job leading this field, and he's been able to maintain in front of Thibodeau. He's got a great group of cars right behind him. So, I mean, they very well could get up to the front here. You see some of those guys inside the top 5 peeking down, thinking if they want to jump low. But, man, they ran out of time because look at this 34 here of Potter. He is going all the way to the race lead, coming off 2 possibly.
Yeah, still holding a lot of momentum there. A lot of cars on the top, which will keep that number 5 at bay on the front for the time being. A shout out to the actual series here, RSR Next Generation Cup Series, esports collective centered around the iRacing simulation software. At any given time, ERL has several series running multiple nights during the week, and is a top tier group in the simulation racing world that is well structured and sponsored by many companies on both inside the esports world and in the real world. RSR Next Gen Cup Series is one of the title series running under the ERL Evolution Racing League banner, mixing the excitement of the NASCAR Next Gen cars, full of skilled and talented drivers. Visit them at facebook.com/RSR League.
Look at, Jeremy, how that bottom lane just kind of dissipated right there. They got all the way up to the lead, and now they're outside the top 5 there on the bottom. still being led by that 34, or not anymore. It's not even Nolan Potter leading right there on the bottom of the racetrack. I actually believe that might be the 28 of Ryan Bean, if maybe we can get an angle on it right here as you look at the cars fly by into the tri-oval. And actually, that's the 17 machine of Kevin Zabado. And look at this big move by Nate Campbell from top to middle to bottom. Give it to Nate Campbell there in the 45 machine to take over that point on the bottom side right in front of Kevin Zabadil. So great job by him. And yes, that is Ryan Bean right behind Zabadil. He was the one leading at the point for just a half a second. Then it was Zabadil, and then it was Nate Campbell. So I could just see, Jeremy, some of these stealth guys, they're all trying to get lined up and stay together. We talk about strength in numbers. There's definitely some of the guys who could do it here.
Jason, that's now 2 times in or actually probably 3 times now in 2 weeks, I have seen the sucker hole be an advantage to somebody. A couple weeks ago, we saw someone advance 10 spots in 1 lap. Actually, that was last Wednesday when I was over at LSR TV filling in for you. And that blew my mind, right? And then I've seen it a couple of times since then. And it almost seems like that's the preferred lane. If you can get a good run, head to the middle lane. You might be able to pick up more spots than what you think. You got the cliche comment of calling it the sucker hole, but in this case, I think it's going to be so much more beneficial to those who try it. And allow the 45 of Nathan Campbell to get to the point on the inside lane, who's running about 5th or 6th place coming to the line at this time.
Yeah, and you know something too, Jeremy? Look at how much this race has already kind of flown by. We are just about to approach the first quarter under the belt here coming up on lap number 20. And Matt Hayden has pretty much led this entire thing practically. Been doing a great job there. Andrew Little staying right behind him. Zach Shrimpenthal as well. James Catrone. And as I say that, here comes the 2 of Shrimpenthal. He finally had enough of being on the top and being the bridesmaid. He's going to get a big shot from the rear end of Nate Campbell, followed by Kevin Zabadil, Ryan Bean, and others. And just like that, now we have a race. But can they keep it? Can they stay there? Shrimpenthal is clear of this 5. Will he jump up? That's the question as they come off 4.
Man, Zach moved to the bottom, and look at the launch that this inside lane got. It just went from, oh, we got a wreck in the back here. Yeah, about 10th place on back. Huge crash here. This is the big one early on lap number 19. Looks about 7 or 8 cars involved in this one early on. I see Jeff Chandler. I see quite a few others near number 11, Alexander Hodge. And so we're going to take quite a few angles of this wreck here that took out quite a few fast drivers.
Yeah, in Jeremy, you got to think to yourself, too, that probably coming off turn 4 with the runs that these guys were getting, as you look at here, you look at the 1 machine he's involved, the 15. Tell me he just barely squeaks by this thing. No, never mind. He doesn't.
Man.
There goes the Budweiser MLB All-Star Game car going right through the grass. But, yeah, lots of drivers involved. And that's a product. Remember, back in the 500 yesterday, obviously, for the NASCAR Cup Series, they had almost that exact same wreck, except it was much smaller than what we just saw there on lap number 4. This is coming to lap number 20. We're going to see here possibly if we can get a look at what happened, but you see the number 10 right there kind of get right into the 15 machine. That's Adam Boughton getting right to John Glassady. And then all into the wall. There's Jeff Chandler, one of the guys we talked about who was going to be so strong. You see Harold Watkins. Yeah, right front tire looks to be busted on that car. Probably might be done for the night. I don't believe, Jeremy, that these guys have a faster pair either. I want to see maybe if we can get one more look and see at where this all did start, because it's kind of unclear. And like I was just mentioning too, Jeremy, you had to have thought, think just for a slight moment that with these runs that the guys were getting on the bottom of the racetrack, guys were noticing it, probably starting to shuffle around, speeds were picking up. And then obviously all hell broke loose coming to the tri-oval.
Yeah, from what I'm looking at my angles here, of course, it was started with the 54 of Anthony Younes and newcomer 72 Kyle Gretsch, and it was so tight. Anthony Younes went to the bottom of the 72, which is fine. Did not give any space, though, to his inside corner. And so I think the 72 may have twitched the wheel just a hair to the left, and that's all it took to find the right front fender of Anthony Younes. There was a lot of inside space below the 54, but was not utilized, and it hooked the 72 sharply down the field and crossed over half the field And everything writes itself. Daytona does not have a lot of space there in the tri-oval, and so things just happen in a hurry. You see the hook there into the 72, crosses into the 23. 72 keeps it down in the grass, but the 54 unfortunately goes up the track, crashes quite a few cars, as you've already seen from a couple angles. 91, 23, 31, 8, 15, 1, 10, 23. See the 99 cabin rough coming through. The 12 really gets clipped there in the right rear. And no fast repairs, Jason. You asked if there was. There's no fast repairs, so they have to get their damage repaired now.
Tell you what, I'm going to ask for the first time of the RSR season. I'm going to be the nagging broadcaster like I was the other day and ask if Dustin can give us an onboard from that number 21 machine of Steven Rasick, because, man, everything started unfolding right in front of him. You saw him kind of diagonal there to the number 99 machine, and the 54 machine, or it was the 23 that just came right across the racetrack, right in front of Steven. You see him, sees all this going on. You can't really see the smoke, and then all of a sudden, oh, well, hello there. There's the 23 machine. Pow! Right into the right side door of the Funko Toyota Camry. Right in the kissers, Dustin says. And that was definitely a hard lick. Probably, if I had to imagine, Jeremy, that's got to be race-ending damage for the number 21, because that was a hard impact. Probably busted up the engine, the radiator, everything about that car. I would not expect that car to return.
Thankfully, with these next-gen cars, the carbon composite, right? So they're a little bit stronger as far as that goes. And also, the radiator is pushed further back amongst the grill line than what they were in previous generations. So there's more space there. So you can actually crumple in that nose a little bit more without affecting the radiator. So I'd be really curious to see how the 21 will perform. Does he have to just rip the whole nose off? Can he perform without overheating? So that'll be the huge question mark for that 21 car. But thankfully, with the next gen, it makes it a little more viable to stay out there and be competitive.
Yeah, and obviously, with that damage, you don't want to be a guy who's riding around, because think about it. He gets in the draft, he tries to draft. He has a very good possibility with the damage that he sustained to probably blow that thing up. So he's got to be really careful about where he pushes, if he can even keep up with the pack for sure.
100% here. We have just under one lap left before we go back to green flags. So we're going to quickly go over a Nerd TV top 10 recap here. And Zach Strenthal, the number 2, is going to be starting in first place. He wasn't 8th on the grid, so he's up 7 spots. Person 2 is outside the 45, Nathan Campbell. Biggest move of the race that I'm seeing so far, up 18 spots from 20th to 2nd in a matter of 19 laps, so great job from Nathan. Ryan Bean, season champion, highest winner of the past couple seasons. He's only up 2 spots from 5th to 3rd. And you got Andrew Little maintaining top 5 all race long, doing a hell of a job to start his season off. Matt Hayden in the 5. Obviously been running the top lane for the most of this race. Let's see if he can get back up and lead that top lane. Then we have Nolan Potter, 4th to 6th, only dropped 2. That's very natural for Daytona. And then you have Rusty Modesty from 10th to 7th, so he's up 3, doing pretty good as well. And you have James Catrone, 11th to 8th, up 3. Tony Ludi in the exact same spot that he started this race, P9. And then Mark Thibodeau rounds out the Nerd TV Top 10 recap from 14th to 10th. And that is also presented by Waterford Concepts, LLC, as these guys are about to take the green flag for the second time here, resuming this race on lap number 23. That should give them about 2 green flag pit stops if they were to go the distance from this point forward. And here we go, Jason. Green flag is back out for the second time.
Yeah, great jump right there for Zach Strenthal. He's going to get right down in front of Nate Campbell. That is his teammate along with Ryan Bean. Those guys out of Stealth Motorsports. So it's a Stealth Motorsports 1, 2, 3, 6, obviously. And then you go all the way down to the other Potter, who currently, Steve Potter, I believe, is also a part of Stealth Motorsports, if I remember correctly. He is all the way down 31st, 2 laps down out of this race. So Stealth Motorsports still doing really strong here for this first quarter of the race. I coming into tonight, Jeremy, I really expected them to obviously be the ones to beat. We've seen them time and time again be the consistent factors. You obviously look back to last season at Atlanta, opener for us here Nate Campbell able to win, I believe it was, over Ryan Bean. So he knows how to get around a super speedway. That's probably the guy I got my eye on right now.
Yeah, 10-4 on that. I'm sure he will be up there when it's go time here in the final part of tonight's race. But different scenery, Jason. They are now all on the inside lane versus the outside, completely flip-flopping what we saw earlier on in the race before the caution. There's only 3 drivers trying to make the top work. So it looks like they're going to play a little bit of safety, single file, just kind of ride it out for a little bit before they get racing again.
Yeah, more likely. I mean, they just saw, obviously, how racy they can get right there before that first caution happened. And now you see the bottom of the racetrack is the dominant lane. How many guys are we going to have jump up to the outside lane and you say, the hell with the patience game, I want to go to the top. You see all the way up at the top, I believe that's one of the Nerd Motorsport guys right there, possibly the 88 of Anthony Ludi jumping up there to lead that train as you see him fly by into turn number 1. So how many guys, Jeremy, could we expect to possibly go up like that?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. We're about to find out. They just kind of ride on like Doyle Lawrence says in the YouTube chat, just too early for all this carnage. And they clearly have recognized that single file for a little bit is probably the correct way to go about this business. Wait a little bit further on past halfway to start duking it out side by side. So I expect some single file to last for at least 15 to 20 laps at minimum before someone gets bored and goes, you know what, it's time to get this thing moving.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, Jeremy, that we should probably touch on. You look at obviously lap number 20. That was when these guys pitted, so they can go about 40 to 45 laps. So if this race were to go green all the way, you're going to see guys start pitting with the last 20, last 15 laps to go. Obviously, with this, and I'm going to keep saying it because it's not so new anymore, this not so new next-gen car, these cars were meant to have bigger fuel cells than what the trucks and the Xfinity cars and obviously the old Gen 6 car used to, so they can run longer compared to the traditional 30 to 35, even at max about 38 laps. So they can go the distance. The question is going to be, though, is will we have green flag pit stops? We saw them back in the summertime towards the end of the race. That's what led to the finish we had with Kevin Ruff winning. So do you think we even have the possibility of even getting the green flag pit stops, knowing that these guys just had their first major wreck? They have to be calm. But I don't know, man. Do you think we're even going to see those green flag pit stops?
If they run like this for the next 15, 20 laps, I'm going to say yes. If they break out a line and go 2 by 2, it's a huge question mark, right? Because you honestly can't tell. It only takes one simple mistake, as we saw there with the 54 and 72 early, to make things happen big in a hurry as well. So right on board here, some of the leaders, Zach Trenthal, P1 right now, looking back at second place, 45, Nathan Campbell, and that new Toyota Camry there, which looks so good. I thought it was going to look terrible at first, but I actually really enjoy how that nose looks.
Oh, yeah.
Jumping over to the Facebook side, I see Ryan Azell. He says he misses racing with RSR. Well, get back in it, man. Get back in and sign up. They got multiple races a week. And then Michelle Rittenberry saying, what a save from Kevin. Great driving from that wreck avoidance for the most part. And then Jerry Culver, we miss you, man. He says, I wish I could have made the race, and hopefully we'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, and there's obviously a lot of guys here that are already in this first race of the year that really can do well this season. I think one driver I probably want to say that I have my eye on this season would be Rusty Modesty. I mean, he was really strong, really consistent last year. He finished 16th, Jeremy, in the points last year in that Sinclair number 6 Ford Mustang, obviously kind of inspired by an RFK-style look, but, looks really good. Also gives off some Rev Racing vibes, obviously, over in the ARCA series with their font. He did really good last season. He was really strong on the super speedways. And you look at his stats, Jeremy, as I'm looking over here at their points on simracerhub.com. Most of the guys from first, second, third, all the way down to about 8th, that's where you get the guys who are in the double digits in top 10. Then from on out, it's scattered numbers between 2 to 6 to 7 to 8. But then you have Rusty Modesty. He had 2 top 5s last season, and he had 10 top 10s out of 16 starts. So over half of those races, he was always consistently in the top 10. Logging laps, obviously, he was really strong, collected some bonus points. I expect him to do some big things this season in that number 6 machine. So watch out for Rusty Modesty. Don't count him out here in tonight's NERDtona 500 or NERDtona 200. I'm still in Daytona 500 mode.
You had the name right, the number wrong. I get you. It's so hard to mess that up. So easy, rather. But yeah, he also had a couple of good races, non-super speedway events. So I think he's going to have a breakout year and try to advance, maybe get himself a 10th place finish or further in the championship season this year. Kind of cycling through the field here a little bit. You see the 83, the 10, the 21, and the 8 kind of grouped up single file as well, trying to get back to the main pack there. As you see the track map presented by iRacing iFlag, they're not too far off, but the only thing is this front line, this front pack is still single file. If those guys were to go 2x2, it actually hinders the performance of that pack, and then it will allow the second set of cars to catch up. But they're not going to do it with them being lined up at the front right now.
Yeah, for sure, obviously. Everybody being lined up on that bottom side right now. If they keep running single file, they are not going to catch them at all. And I mean, it's not like they're too far back, but they're far enough back to where they're not really going to be able to make a lot of ground. They're going to have to stay tight. They're going to have to stay pushing, but you can't push the pushers. So that number 10 machine is obviously probably the key aspect of Adam Boughton pushing that number 83 machine. He's got to really get there. You see one car scrape the wall coming out of the tri-oval. I believe that would be the number 54 machine. I think it was, yeah. Or that was Steve Potter, one of those drivers who is multiple laps down, 6th in fact in that 94 machine. But that's the thing, this 10 machine was really strong. Now you see him, he's gotten back out to the front of this little pack. They just have to stay grouped up together, Jeremy, if they want to make any ground up for when these guys up front do get side by side for the lead.
Yeah, 100% there. I'm actually looking at a couple cars from that wreck, the 21, Steven Rasick. You said he was basically done. He's actually holding pace very strong in the second group, so I think he still has a car that can contend for the win if they have a chance to get back up to the front. I see some chats going on the YouTube side. Elite Cup Racing Xbox page says getting ready for green flag pit stops. Well, I mean, they went back to green flag about 10 laps ago, so if they stay green for about another 15 to 20, I would imagine we're going to see some form of green flag pit stops around that point, just around that, or just outside of halfway to go. Yeah, a 72, they said don't count him out. That's from Thomas S. He is still in the main pack after being the person that got spun there on the front straightaway. He is in 12th place, hanging tight right behind that 99 of Kevin Ruff.
Yeah, and Kevin really is doing a great job, obviously, here tonight. He's already up 16 spots from where he started. Currently P11, just shy of the top 10 in that BestOne tire machine. Same colors, same kind of basic concept that he had last year. Great looking car, by the way, as always, just like that 15 right there, right in front of him. And in fact, Jeremy, a lot of great paint schemes out here tonight, noticing. I don't think there's one paint scheme that I don't like here. You see some of these guys, though, starting to get a little bit racy. I noticed Zach Schrenthal was actually zigzagging, almost IndyCar style snaking down the back straightaway a couple laps ago, which I don't know if he was kind of toying with this field and screwing with them or what, with his buddies there right behind him from Stealth Motorsports. But notice they've jumped up to the top side, so they want to kind of make sure that they can run a little bit faster. They know it's going to be the dominant lane, and I think they know, too, that they would rather be up there instead of being on the bottom side, because if that top side gets formed up, they know it's strong. So it's good heads up driving by Zach Schrenthal and his teammates to jump up to the top side, knowing that's been the fastest lane around this track so far.
Yeah, 100% there. 21 viewers currently on Facebook and YouTube combined. So shout out to you guys there. Keep chiming in. I love the energy so far in the chats. And Jason, it looks like they really just believe in this number 2, Zach Schrenthal. Remember, he ducked out of line a few laps prior to that big wreck, and that took the inside lane from about 5th or 6th place to 1st and 2nd. Now, since he's been leading this pack, he ran to the bottom. People followed him. He moves to the top. Everybody followed him. So right now they believe that number 2 has a hot rod there, and to log laps, they want this guy in front.
Yeah, you know something, too, and it's really interesting that they have Zach Schrenthal leading this pack, and I think that they really do believe in him, like you did say. Obviously, he's not getting too close to that wall, so he's kind of giving a little bit of room for somebody to make kind of a desperation move there behind the 5th place driver. But I mean, you look at Zach's stats from last year. He only made 15 starts out of the 18, so he was not one of those 8 guys to complete all 18 races. But I mean, his stats were, you know, and it's no offense to Zach, you know, it's just his stats last year were kind of mediocre. Only 2 top 5, 6 top 10 runs. You know, got some bonus points throughout the season, and that was actually 50 bonus points compared to Ryan Bean's 240, Blake Howell's 121, Nate Campbell's 147. So really, it was kind of a mediocre season for Zach Schrenthal. It would be a great thing for him to obviously kick off the season with the win here at Daytona after coming off a winless season.
Yeah, 100% there. And a little shout out to Ryan Azell. I said he needs to join in. Well, I did not realize that he was actually the owner of RSR. And so he just hasn't been able to show up for a while, but he's proud of his boys for what they've done with it so far. And so shout out to you for creating this awesome league. And I want to give our partners another shout out here. This time it's going to be BestOne Tire and Service, the official presenting series sponsor for the Cup Series every single Tuesday. So if you're looking for that one-stop automotive repair and tire shop, BestOne Tire and Service helps you with new tires, tire repairs, and auto service you need from the people you can trust. Check out where the nearest location is by visiting bestonetire.com.
Tell you what, Jeremy, I'm going to need me a Ford Fresh Goodyear Eagles probably on my car pretty soon with all the snow we've been getting up here in New Jersey. Might have to use RSR or Cabin Rough name drop in that place if I could find a BestOne tire near me, because that machine obviously running really good, but definitely going to need some tires on my car in the real world pretty soon with all the snow we've been getting. And, you know, you've been able to enjoy that nice Florida weather, obviously. The Daytona 500 yesterday had some beautiful weather, beautiful sunset there, and a beautiful day here in the sim as well with the sun shining down for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit chillier yesterday. I'm sure the guys at Daytona appreciate a little bit cooler weather their way. Yeah, but we're looking at 75 as the high here coming to the week's close. So, you know, it's still winter. I don't like seeing the weather start with a 7, but I'll take it where we can. I guess that's still better than snow that you're dealing with, which, you know, living in Florida my whole life, I rarely know what that is.
Keep it that way. You don't want to know. Anybody who lives in Florida and they say they want to know what snow is, I promise you, and because I guarantee you, Dustin could probably say the same thing. For anybody who has never seen snow in their life or has never experienced a lot of snow, trust me, you don't want to deal with snow. And I know Dustin knows what I'm talking about because it is the most inconvenient thing in the world. Thankfully, in the sim, we don't have no snow, so it's obviously awesome that no weather is affecting. But obviously, Jeremy, too, you know, as these guys, you see them starting to run up on the bottom. One of the Nerd Motorsport drivers, that 88 machine there, that would be Anthony Ludy starting to try to come to the front. Remember, iRacing's, their updates coming pretty soon, and one of those things coming up is gonna be the implementation of rain for some road courses. So that's gonna be really fun to see, obviously, coming up for sure.
And it's not just rain, right? It is a bunch of other things concerning the weather. You can pick and choose what time slot clouds roll in, how quick the rain comes through and goes away. There's a lot of customization involved in that. iRacing's done a great job in keeping us up to date every time they have an update to provide to us of how awesome this feature is. And yeah, it's not going to be on every single car and track combo to start because you got to get warmed up to it. But I think it's going to be an awesome product for those endurance races throughout the year. That'll be fun to watch out for, especially, you know, next month with the Sebring 12-hour event. I wonder if that combination will have it. But going back to the racing action here, turn 3 and 4, 5 cars on the bottom. You mentioned that 88 Ludy leading the charge, and they've picked up a couple cars behind them. Actually, 6 or 7 now are going to follow suit. So all of a sudden, we're going to start seeing a lot of 2x2. Strengthen, the leader moves to the bottom. He recognized the momentum shift, and they're going to try to run the bottom now.
Great job by his Stealth Motorsport teammates to come down, jump down to the bottom, cut that lane off from that Nerd Motorsport driver of Anthony Ludy. And obviously the 25 machine has been pushing that 88, doing a great job. Andrew Little got stuck at the top of the racetrack. Should have jumped down what he could. But like we've seen time and time again, the outside's been good. Here comes the 88. He'll jump up to the top. Jeremy, they did not want to ride around in line anymore. And look at the move by Andrew Little. Goes from top to bottom. Picks up a 2-for-1 special. He's going to go all the way to the 4th spot if he can clear this 88 coming off turn number 4. Not able to do it, Jeremy, and that's what we talked about. No help behind you, you will stall out, and that's exactly what he did right there coming through the tri-oval.
Andrew Little left a pack of 3 Chevrolets to jump behind some Toyotas to propel this inside lane a little bit further. He did jump in front of the 17, which he is also in a Chevrolet, but still, it's going to hinder the outside a little bit here. Ludi's trying to figure out where he can get some consistent help. They're doing a great job up to this point, trying to contend inside this top 5, being pushed there by Furtick and the 25 from Revolution Motorsports. But they just need more numbers to get where they want to go, which is P1.
Yeah, and really, I mean, it's kind of all, Jeremy, when you think about obviously the super speedway style racing with this next gen car, Generation 7 car, you could say, is you really got to control the lines. What you used to do, obviously, in the Gen 6, even the Gen 4, Gen 5 cars, you had to control the lines, but I feel like it's more important now with this car because of the way that the lines stall out. When momentum gets killed, you have to make sure that you're noticing what lines are moving around, who's behind who, and that's why if any of these drivers out here have any kind of spotter in their session, whether it be a buddy, a friend, a family member who's on the session with them, being their spotter, it's good information for these drivers to be being told who's obviously in what lines, what guys are looking the best, who's pushing the hardest. It's all great information that you want to feed to the driver out here.
Yeah, 100% there, and I'm seeing a total of 27 live consecutive viewers right now, which is awesome to see, guys. Appreciate you. Keep it up once more. Chats are open. If I see it, I'll shout it out if I can. But kind of looking at things here, Jason, on your notes, I would expect green flag pit stops to be within 10 laps if I'm not too mistaken, right?
Yeah, I would probably say so here, probably around lap 60, probably, lap 65. We're going to have to see, obviously, coming up. Because you think about it, like we just mentioned a few laps ago, these guys last pit at lap 20. They can go about 40 to 45 laps per take with that fuel run. Because remember, again, these cars, the new next-gen cars, Gen 7 cars, they have that bigger fuel cell. They're able to go longer than the traditional old-style bodies and chassis. With the older fuel cell, you used to only be able to go about 30 to 38 laps. Now you can go about 5 to 10 laps longer. So I would expect these guys to probably start pitting here within the next 10, maybe even 15 laps or so for sure, no doubt about it. And you can see some of these guys already starting to kind of move down to the bottom right here.
Yeah, 100% there. And my producer Dustin's in my ear saying, I hope you have an updated stat book. Well, it's version 3.0. It's powered by Jason Rockefeller, so I think we're going to be okay. I think, yeah, I don't know about the money side, but definitely by Jason. I think he's got me powered for sure, which I appreciate that. And Ryan, I see you back on the Facebook, and big shout out to you for calling us out and giving us that huge compliment. Love to see it, love to hear it. And hopefully we can continue that kind of coverage all year long here in 2024 for the RSR Next Gen Cup Series. And yeah, I mean, Jason, you said they pitted at lap 20 after that caution, right? It's lap 47, so we're closing in on 30 laps on this fuel run, which they restarted this race on lap 23, 24, so that's where the fuel really kind of started. But they're in the point now, the window's open, right? They could pit here in like 2 laps, or even that right now, I think, and they can make it on fuel. So team strategy, do you pit early like the 2, the 45, the 28 here? Teamwork, do they pit early, or do they just try to figure out when the big pack's going to come in and follow them in?
Yeah, that's a thing, obviously, we're going to have to keep an eye on. And yes, absolutely, you very well could be seeing guys come in here within the next 5 laps or so. Because, again, that window is open pretty much. And just like Dustin mentioned in my ear, look at this gap they put. It's about 6, maybe 7 car lengths between being all the way back to Little there. Look at the gap that they have put. It just goes to show you, Jeremy, how good, well, and organized this Stealth Motorsport trio is right here. Obviously, Nolan Potter all the way back in the 10th spot. He is back there riding around in that backpack. I'm sure they would love to see him up there because, like we talked about, it's strength in numbers, and you want to have that here at Daytona. But obviously, coming to pit road, you don't want to have too many guys coming to pit road with you. That could be an issue we might see here shortly.
I don't know how you can name yourself Stealth Motorsports when obviously you have the fastest cars. You cannot hide from that. And there are clearly 3 cars have a huge advantage, a second gap between them and the fourth on back. And that's just powered by them. They had no help. No one got out of whack. It was just literally 3-car power that causes huge separation. So they can do what they want. They know, oh, here we go. Yep, they know their stuff's fast. Break down early. Might as well. They got the teammate with them behind them. About 6 cars in total. It looks like everyone gets to speed. Questionable in the 51. But everybody else looks like they're clean. Just going to hit their marks. And this will be a very good pit stop. And the 51 looks like they hit the wall.
I was just going to say, too, yes, he did hit the wall, but the reason I said, oh, look out, is because that 51, man, he decided late, and that's the 51 of Zach Wilson. We were just riding on board the TWRS Ford Mustang Dark Horse just a few moments ago. Coming down off turn number 4, he didn't do the traditional immediately once you get down to the flat part of the banking somewhat to get down onto that apron. He decided late, about halfway down that straightaway, to commit to pit road, and I thought for sure as hell he was going to overshoot that and go right into the infield grass. We've seen that at the super speedways. It's very common at Talladega, Daytona a little bit. You see the 25 of Dwayne Furtick. He comes in now, obviously one of the newer guys in that Logitech G machine, this time by himself. You don't really see a lot of that at Daytona, so he is probably going to be a sitting duck when he gets back out on this racetrack. I would expect him to probably want a caution at some point. But, Jeremy, I'm expecting these guys right here to probably be pitting this time by.
Yeah, interesting caller from Dwayne Furtick to make the decision to pit by himself. I know he's new, but at the same token, you got to have someone, even if it's not your teammate, just pit with someone that you're going to draft with. And this is probably going to knock him out of the main pack for sure. We see 3 more cars coming down, led by Andrew Little. Then got Kevin Ruff, and it looks like James Catrone there, or Thibodeau rather, in my ear there. They have similar color schemes there from the nose view perspective. As you get the side look there, you got a couple more drivers coming in, 3 more. So this should be probably the second to last laps of the green flag cycle, and everybody else at this point should be coming in.
Yeah, I would say so, obviously. I mean, you look at the remainder of the guys who are still out there. You have Zabladil, Modesty, Catrone, Hayden, Gretsch. You have Hodge. They're probably all going to be pitting this time around coming up. I would not expect them to stay out, and here they all come right here this time by. Got to be careful, boys. Don't run into one another. Obviously, try to stay separated. You see some lockups. No smoke, though, for most of these guys. Great execution coming on to pit road. But this is the thing about being in this bigger pack, and they're going to be the fastest ones out there because they are the bigger pack. But if they want to be the fastest ones when they come out, they have to get grouped up together, and they have to get grouped up fast.
Yeah, 100%. So the 72, Kyle Retsch was pretty slow getting to his stall. I don't know if that's going to affect him getting in this pack here. As he's still being serviced by the crew as everyone's leaving pit road. So I don't know if he is serving a penalty, but this is an oddly long pit stop for the 72, which I thought he was clear of any speeding concerns. But apparently this is going to do him in as we're going to kind of cycle through and see the 6 here, 17 as well. They're going to be exiting pit road off of turn number 2. They're going to get up to speed here with these 3 cars. You're going to start to see some leaders pass them on the outside here. Led by the 28 of Ryan Bean. He's got decisions to make with slow cars. Almost gets involved in some type of collision. Thankfully nothing happens. They pass everyone now. Your new leader is going to be the 28 Ryan Bean.
Hey, look at these guys. It's not just Ryan Bean. 1, 2, 3, 4 Stealth Motorsports. Boy, Jeremy, we talk about them being fast tonight, man. They really are fast, the ones to beat. They work the best when it comes to these super speedways. And then they have those sprinkled drivers in from other teams. You look last year, obviously, Kevin Ruff was able to take the win over those Stealth Motorsport guys at Daytona, and right behind them in that 5th spot, who was able to claw right onto them, is Anthony Ludian. Uh-oh, something developing possibly. Ryan Bean, due to a little bit of inking and blinking right there, could be a connection issue for the driver of the 28 machine. Not something you want to see, considering that he has, or really, you know, if you're in his shoes, you have one of the fastest, if not the fastest car in this field right now. You have that confidence. You have the guys behind you. Don't want to have an incident, obviously, this late in the going, coming up to 25 laps to go.
And that's one thing about being on the virtual side of things, is the internet can strike at any moment in time. But if you're winning or in last place, it's going to find you if it does happen. And so as they're trying to log laps there, they got a very safe gap between everybody else. So they say single file. I think they're going to be just fine here to close out the remaining 26 laps here. Quick shout out to one of our partners, longtime partner for us, Martin Sports at martinsports.gg. Small company, huge time products, got the best sim gloves in the sim racing world. They're the most breathable, most durable, and they're fully customized to whatever team you have or any use that you want to have with them. Feel free to stop over at martinsports.gg and check out the whole catalog. They also do full sublimation printing on t-shirts, hoodies. They make custom embroidered hats. So anything that you want for your team, they got you. And use the promo code SUPERNERD for 25% off when you do purchase anything from martinsports.gg.
Noticing right here, this other pack led by the 68 machine of Andrew Little, they are actually way back there, I believe it is. Actually, no, they are 9th right now, so they are trying to catch this pack. And in fact, look at Rusty Modesty. They have caught that top lane. Look at him pull out a lane. And wow. Oh my goodness, look at them flying to the front of this field. I don't know what happened or what coming down the back straightaway, but they just got this massive ass run coming off turn number 2 and then all the way to turn number 3. That was insane. And just like that, the 6 takes the lead. The 17 Kevin Zabaldell, he'll work to the outside lane. They have Alexander Hodge right behind them. Man, Jeremy, 24 laps to go, man. This is it. You got what you got. Now you're starting to see these guys get really dicey in this pack.
Was that even real? I don't
think so.
I'm so confused because then Tony Ludi just went to the top of the 45 to 34 in the 2 and passed him sitting still all by himself. He's starting to lose the draft now and fall back in line. But momentarily, even one car it passed 3 other cars. This is just, that is completely insane what we just saw there, allowing the 17, the 6 and 11 to jump up to 1, 2, and 3. We thought we just had a 5-car battle, but all of a sudden now we got 10 plus cars in this pack.
Yeah, that's crazy. And now look at the top of this racetrack. You have 3 drivers who want to be able to lead this top side. They know it's going to be the strong one. The only thing that's really going to be a deficit for them being up there, and it's the only deficit you will have all night being on the top, is look who is on the bottom. It's all of the stealth guys lined up together. But notice everybody is jumping up to the top. Strength in numbers. That's how you're going to get around these stealth guys who have been the dominators here tonight in the NERDtona 200. And we're just going to have to see how this plays out. We're approaching 20 to go. Coming to 22 this time by. I mean, Jeremy, pick a favorite. I mean, there really hasn't been a favorite except any of the Stealth Motorsport, or except the Stealth Motorsport guys here tonight. I really don't know what to say, who to really pick. But, I mean, if I had to pick one just right now, why not? Why not put a gamble? Put some money down on that 6 machine. I think he's got a bad, fast car. He is ready to take on 2024. I think Rusty Modesty goes to victory lane here tonight.
It's a great pick. He was definitely in the back of my mind as far as my top 3 for sure. But for a true favorite, my answer is yes, because a lot of these guys have a car to win, and I can't say for sure one car is better than the other. We saw Stealth Motorsports pull out in front of a pack by a whole second, so we know they can do some stuff. And then we saw the 17 trailed by the 6 and 11, and all of a sudden they had like the nitrous button installed on that pit stop. I have no idea who to actually choose. And then I see Brian Fine on the YouTube chat saying, sorry nerds, I missed out, personal business. Well, man, well, at least, or hopefully everything's okay, and we'll see you next Tuesday. And man, yeah, this is getting crazy. It was just a single file race, and now we're 2 by 2 by 2. 28 Ryan Bean back to the point on the bottom with his teammate Zach Schrenthal.
Yeah, now if him and Zach Schrenthal can get past the number 17 machine, will they jump up to the top? We're going to have to see that. They're already, I think, about clear. Will anybody from that lane, including those 2, jump up to the top? But we've seen Stealth Motorsports be very, very loyal here tonight. They've all stayed up together. Now that the fact they have Nolan Potter with them, it's not a 3-horse, guys. It's a 4-horse brigade. Right there at the bottom of this racetrack, they've been able to retake the lead. They have claimed the top spots inside the top 5 pretty much. I mean, Jeremy, it's kind of like picking out of a hat blind. I mean, it's like doing a double blind, if say, because you're not looking inside the hat, and then you got the blindfold on. It's really hard to pick right now a favorite. Obviously, both lanes are kind of mixed. You have the top being strong at points, you have the bottom being strong at points, and with 20 laps to go, I expect all hell to probably break loose here pretty soon if possible.
Look at this 28 Ryan being by himself, 2 car lengths in front, almost even 3 car lengths in front of his teammate, Zach Strenthal. Oh, look at the sucker hole. Look at this Brandon Gagnon, 83. There it is. Look at this run that they're getting. I'm telling you, this is the new lane that people need to learn to use. That sucker hole is going to propel this 83 past a bunch of cars here to the point and then some. This is insane. Another set of 3 cars making some huge gains, all Nerd Motorsports drivers, and they just shifted from mid-pack to first in 1 lap.
Holy brown pants, I guess, because I can't say the other word. I mean, that's crazy. I'm baffled. And Jeremy, the thing is too, you just talked about halfway through this race, or almost near halfway, that sucker hole was kind of like a secret weapon, almost. Obviously, the other night you talked about it, and it just was the secret weapon. This very well could be what gives these guys here for Nerd Motorsports possibly a win tonight at Daytona. Brandon Gagnon, longtime Nerd guy, obviously. He's back for more this season. We didn't talk about him all night. Same with Adam Boughton, really. Same with Michael Sheffield. And now they're running inside the top 3 with 18 laps to go. And Stealth Motorsports, bye-bye. They're in the middle of that pack right now. They're in a lot of trouble.
I'm still trying to collect my thoughts on how that happened. I know the middle lane has been showing its face recently, but the amount of speed that they got carried, I thought the 17, 6, and the 11 blew my mind. And I just saw those 3 Nerd Motorsports drivers, Nerd Esports drivers, they just through the middle, had about a 15-mile-an-hour advantage over everybody, and momentarily had them cleared by 10 car lengths. And of course, the draft is eventually going to get to them, and they're now brought into the main pack. But just seeing that, I'm looking at like this number 2 car to move his team back to the middle groove and making that slingshot happen, because that is the lane to pass.
Yeah, it's definitely the pass. Whoa, look at Andrew Little jump from top to bottom, cut from Anthony Ludi's front bumper right down in front of Kevin Zabadell. That was a near miss, near collision heading into the center of 1 and 2. Great heads-up driving by Zabadell and also Andrew Little. But, Jeremy, we're noticing the moves are getting riskier. They're getting more aggressive. Coming to 16 laps to go. This time, we're in the final quarter of this race. Anything can happen. Gloves are off, baby. It's time to go here.
Doyle Lawrence asking the right question, saying, are they using the push-to-pass button? I guess the nitrous isn't so much the button. It's the push-to-pass. They're dropping that spoiler flat for 5 seconds. It launches them, obviously. Just kidding on that, because that's not a thing. But it almost feels like it. How crazy and intense that run is up through the middle. But this pack has gotten really racy. We have 16 to go, 15 and a half on the back straightaway. Inside has the numbers, and we're going to get a replay, I think, from what I'm hearing, of that run from the 83, 10, and the 1. And here we go. Nerd TV replay is going to show you just how crazy. Look at this. They're, what, 15th place? And just like he's sitting still, this is in real time here. Real time. And it's just insane, Jason. Look at this run.
Yeah, it's definitely insane. I mean, they went from back of the pack to the middle, and then all of a sudden, they're up here at the front. And, oh my goodness, just what a ginormous run by these guys. And it shuffled up that pack big time. It separated the Stealth Motorsport guys. They got some sprinkled in drivers right in their line. They had more guys jump up to the top side. This race got flipped upside down the second that happened. And here comes James Catrone. Look at him on the outside. He was making headway about a couple laps ago up there with that help behind him. That is Justin Henry in the 85 Ford Mustang Dark Horse, pushing the 38 of Catrone all the way to the race lead. Coming to 14 laps to go. It's Nerd Motorsports and versus everybody up here at the front of the field. Uh-oh, what's going on here? Possibly more pit stops. Brandon Gagnon, Adam Boughton, Michael Sheffield coming into the pits. Oh no, one car way off, just misses pit road big time. Not too sure who that was. That was the 27 actually of Marc-Andre Thibodeau. I don't know if he was avoiding something, thinking about coming to pit road or what, but that was a near miss for him.
Yeah, just had a late thought of pitting by himself and then backed out of that one, as we're going to kick it back and see. where the 27 was. He's right behind the 25 of Hertick here. Makes the move. It almost looks like he went AFK and had a wheel issue or something, because the thing was looking like he was going to stay on track and just gradually shifted over to the inside, got back onto the racing surface. But that was such a weird way to try to make a pit stop if you're going to. But since we saw the 3 Nerd Motorsports drivers make their pit stops, I thought the fuel tank had enough laps to make it all the way, but apparently that's not the case. So that we're going to see one more green flag pit stop, it looks like.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility here. And I mean, I'm looking obviously at the laps. Most of these guys pit at lap 48, 52. I believe these guys can make it all the way personally. That's just my belief. I'm not too sure, but I mean, we talked about these guys making about 40, 45 laps, you know, on a tank of fuel. I don't expect these guys to pit. I mean, and look at this field now. Right here, yeah, 32 looks like the longest run right there. You see, I believe from what I'm seeing here, if I could full screen myself, you're looking at it, that's Matt Hayden. He was the longest run with the pit stop strategy stint length. He ran 32 laps here. James Catrone, he ran 31. Justin Henry ran 21, or 28 rather. Rusty Modesty ran 31. It could be tight. I personally believe, I don't think that these guys are going to have to make another stop, but, you know, we're just going to have to see right here coming up. Coming to 11 laps to go, and this whole field now is single file.
Well, that being said, Matt Hayden ran 32 laps, and then to close this thing out, it'll put him at lap 30, so, or 28. So on that math alone, yeah, they're going to make the rest of the way. So did our drivers there just kind of like did a fuel mixture and use the nitrous button to pass everyone, then it depleted their tank of all the fuel? I'm not too sure. Just kind of, you know, spitballing. It was such a crazy, it still has blown my mind, but the way that they pitted so early, I didn't think that they would have to pit, but like, the question now is, if they can make it, why did those 3 have to pit, not everybody else?
I mean, they probably were on a different strategy, but by the looks of it, Jeremy, we saw everybody pretty much come in at the exact same time between 48 to lap 52. I mean,
yeah.
It's just really odd, honestly. I'm kind of still scratching my head, just like you and probably Walter over there, but pushing all the buttons. I mean, I'm just not too sure. I mean, I'm almost positive these guys can make it all the rest of the way, but here's obviously the thing that we just talked about and mentioned, Jeremy, is these guys running single file. I called and had the opportunity to call the FTSR Mach 1 guys just yesterday after the Daytona 500. They had their Daytona race, and a lot smaller field at the end of the race, and it was single file up until the last lap. So we're going to see how it ends up. Uh-oh, what's going on in the 38 machine?
No.
Oh, that's going to be big, or the 27 rather. That could have been massive. Guys had to shift about 2, 3, almost 4, and they were 4 wide for just a split second. Thankfully, they're able to settle back in line. But Jeremy, like I was saying, single file until the last lap pretty much. That's probably what we're going to see, unless you're one of those guys back there, like an Andrew Little, a Kevin Zabledil, an Alexander Hodge. If you're one of those guys, you have to go within the last 3 laps, no doubt.
100%. I got quickly got corrected there on the fuel strategy, including Destin in my ear. Then we have Harold Watkins and Bob Fitzpatrick both on the YouTube saying not 100%. Harold Watkins saying 70% fuel load in these cars. But that still like brings up that question of like, how can Matt Hayden run 32 laps and then make it to the end here, not pass the 32 lap threshold again? But the other guys, I don't remember them pitting that much earlier, but I guess that is the case to where they're noting maybe 1 lap shy and had to come down, because the math, at least from the 5 car, says they can make it the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too, and Brian Fine came in my ear as well. Justin Henry coming to pit road this time by. I don't think some of these guys are going to be able to make it. Now that we're being told from the information, and big thank you, big shout out to Brian Fine for letting us know with the 70% fuel load with the race details that we've been provided by him, and Harold Watkins as well, is the fact is that these guys, some of these guys might not be able to make it at all. We very well, Jeremy, could be seeing a type of a 2017 Daytona 500 finish. Remember the end of that race? Lots of cars taken out. You had a handful of drivers started running out. You had Chase Elliott run out of fuel. You had Martin Truex run out of fuel. You had Kyle Larson run out of fuel. Ryan Blaney almost sputtered coming to the line and finished second, and Kurt Busch was able to take the win that day. We very well could see something similar here coming to 7 to go this time.
Once a broadcast, Jason always throws out a random fact that's 5 years or older, and there's your fact there, that 2017 Daytona 500. Yeah, people running out, people pitting, people staying, trying to do what they could. And I think that you're on the money with that. This could be one of those scenarios. And maybe that's why some people were running a little slow, and that's why they were able to pass so fast. Is maybe was that inside lane tanking a little bit, trying to save what they can to make sure they can make it to the end?
Well, also, Jeremy, too, you think about it. Remember in yesterday's Daytona 500, you had guys running 50 to 75% throttle to save until the end of the stages between stage 1 and stage 2. I mean, yesterday, I believe it was one of the go or go home guys who made the race based on time. One of the I keep saying go or go home. Sorry, got to go modernize here in the 2020s. Non-charter cars, had to maintain it and make sure that they could stay on the lead lap. Tried staying out, running about 50% throttle for the last 6 laps of the stage. Couldn't do it. There was a 5-second difference between those 2 cars that were running 50% throttle and then the rest of the field. So very well could have been seeing guys running 75, 50% throttle here. We're coming to 5 laps to go, man. You got what you got. There's no more saving here.
Yeah, coming to 5 laps to go. I see a 29 on the view count currently, with YouTube and Facebook combined, so I appreciate the numbers, guys. Love to see that here. And this is a very calm 5 to go. Usually the leaders are side by side, or at least row 2, row 3. We're starting to see some shifting to the top and bottom. They don't know where they want to be, but for the most part, this top 3 has it easy. They're just kind of logging laps until they see that momentum shift. We see some huge runs here by the 31 and 2 on the inside. They're going to have to eventually slow up for the 51. As they kind of just follow suit here. 31, Jeff Chandler, not on the lead lap, but he is well up to speed with everybody else. Running this inside lane, helping where he can, maybe his teammate. But as they come up to 4 laps to go now, Hodge has the chance here to get this outside rolling with the 68 Andrew Little, who we've seen consistently in the top 5 this race.
Watch this number 6 of Rusty Modesty. He's been thinking about peeking up to this outside lane here. Jeremy thought about it coming off the tri-oval. Same goes for the 5 of Matt Hayden. Remember, Matt Hayden, he's won a race this week during Daytona Speedway. He won his dual race, and then obviously the 31 of Jeff Chandler won his one as well. And they're pushing James Catrone. They're doing a great job on that bottom lane, but it's only a matter of time before Hodge is right there with the leader. If you're going to jump up, man, you're going to have to jump up now. Rusty Modesty lost his chance, and the 5 very well could lose his chance too, and he did. Now it's going to be a battle for the race lead. Catrone's going to have to pick what lane he wants to run. 3 laps to go from the World Center Racing back to 1.
Does he block the 11, or does he maintain the bottom? He shifts up a little bit to maybe push him out of lane, but it's not going to be anything for him. My correction on the first name, Alexander Hodge here, has the nose over James Catrone through 1 and 2 here with 2.5 laps remaining.
Who would have thought to see these 2 guys up here? James Catrone started in the top 10. Alexander Hodge started pretty much all the way at the back, getting a big push from Andrew Little. Now the 11's got to figure out, does he want to jump up to the bottom or jump down to the bottom, jump up to the top? He'll stay up top. Catrone's got a big run here coming off the corner, Jeremy. These guys are getting fast. There goes Catrone. Sideways out of line. Will they save it through the tri-oval? Look at the run by one of the Potters. That's Nolan Potter. Slingshots. Bounces off the 38 machine. Goes from about 10th to 4th in 1 tri-oval corner with 2 laps to go.
Kevin Rupp with the biggest block I've ever seen in front of James, and it really checked him up. I don't know how Nolan Potter tank slapped Kevin on the top side there and did not even kick one of those cars remotely sideways. He gets to the bottom there, 4th in lane. The lappers move to the bottom here. Alexander still leads the way through 3 and 4 here, shifting up to the top. The 72 here of Gretsch is going to make an attempt here with the number 2. The strength and all as we get to the white flag. 1 lap to go, presented by Elevated Esports.
And the white flag is out this time. No overtime necessary. Alexander Hodge been leading here. Look at the topside move. Here comes Nate Campbell. He's got help from the 99 of Kevin Ruff. They're going to go all the way to the lead. They're all up and into the wall. Big crash going to happen, possibly coming through two.
There we go.
And it does. They're going to wreck right behind him. Wadded up, 38, up into the wall hard. Collects multiple drivers, but up at the front, Alexander Hodge trying to trail behind Nate Campbell for the final time. There he goes to the inside, entering 3.
This is so much movement here, and that's why the big wreck happened. We have 6 cars that have a chance to win this 500 or 200-mile race here. To the line, the 45, Nate Campbell has the easiest finish of his Daytona career here by himself at the line. The 45 Stealth Motorsports driver, Nathan Campbell, picks up the win in one of the most craziest last lap sequences I have seen.
Yeah, and you know something too, Jeremy, heartbreaker for Kevin Ruff. You really want to see him probably get it done. For most of the fans out there obviously watching, you have some fans of his. And it all started coming off turn number 4. He had the run. He could have went to the bottom, I think, if he wanted to. But that 45, because he easily blocked it, or could have easily blocked it, Kevin Ruff decided to stay up to the top side. Then coming off 4, they all kind of got wadded up, started going 3 wide. You had Rusty Modesty, Andrew Little. They were all battling behind them. And Kevin had no help coming off turn number 4. And that's what led the number 45 machine for the first victory of the year here. Good job to Nate Campbell. Strong car all day long. I'm sure Stealth Motorsports is going to be happy with that one.
Yeah, 100% coming out of Daytona with a victory, or at least a top 3, is a huge success for any team. And that huge wreck started with the 99 getting into the wall with a little bit of wall glue and shifted everyone around, which ended up allowing only 6 cars to duke it out for this checkered flag, in which this 45 was able to maintain it coming to the line. There were 3 wide behind him, but by himself, he was able to get it done. It's a great job by Nathan Campbell. We're going to go over the finishing results here this evening. Nathan Campbell in 45 is going to be P1. Kevin Ruff in the 99 second place. Alexander Hodge in 11 does finish in 3rd. Andrew Little 4th. Rusty Modesty 5th, which was our pick in the booth, so great job on his top 5. 6th place, Zach Strenthal. 7th, Ryan Bean. 8th, Tony Ludi. 9th, Kevin Zabladil. And 10th place, number 5, Matt Hayden.
All the way down to the top 20, just rounding out outside the top 10. Zach Wilson there in the 51 machine coming home P11. Nolan Potter comes home for P12. You have Catrone. Blasity, nice run for him there, top 15 in that number 15 machine. Kent Mueller in the number 26 comes home, rounds out the top 15. Aaron Spear in the 77. Lots of guys we didn't really talk about all night getting top 20s. Good runs for them to start out the season. Justin Henry, Adam Boughton, Michael Sheffield, and then you see Kyle Grich right there in the 72 machine. He's going to round out your top 20.
And he was the first car 1 lap down. Everybody else was 1 or more laps down. 25, Dwayne Furtick. 22nd, Mark Thibodeau. 23rd, Michael Carter. 24th place, Brandon Gagnon. 25th will be James Fitzmaurice. 26th, Robert Fitzpatrick. 27th will be Richard Gonzalez. 28th, Stephen Rasick. 29th, Kane Lee. 30th, Steve Potter. 31st, Jeff Chandler. 32nd, Anthony Younes. And Harold Watkins finishes last. And 33rd. It is our time to go to, I guess, our only commercial break here this evening. Full screen. We're going to get our top 3 together. We'll be right back. And back here to full screen for the Martin Sports Post Race Show. We're going to talk to tonight's top 3 finishers here this evening. First one on the block here is the number 11 Alexander Hodge. They're in that unsponsored Ford Mustang. Alexander, welcome to Podium P3.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, man, it's going pretty good over here. Excellent racing all night long. Your car looked pretty fast overall out of things. And then walk us through how much fuel did you have left in the car? Because I saw a couple guys come down pit road for mandated fuel. And then 2, how did you survive the chaos, which was that last lap?
So I regret not pushing it earlier. I think I ended with 4 to the good. We were just talking about that. We should have changed maybe our strategy and pushed and forced the field to run faster. But I was sitting 4 to good. I started the race out back and just hung out, let them kind of wreck out, and then we just kept moving forward, and P3 is a good finish.
Yeah, and P3 is definitely a good finish, man. And especially, too, I mean, you look at your stats from last year, obviously, at 16 starts, only 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s. It's got to feel pretty good knowing that you already are at half the amount of what your top 5s were last season. What are your expectations heading into 2024 now that you've already got 1 podium, 1 top 5 underneath your belt here?
Oh, definitely just contend. I like coming out here and having fun with everybody. Playoffs, got to make the playoffs and see if we can get 2, 3, 4 drivers in our team into the playoffs. That would probably be the goal. But just to have fun this year.
Yeah, I love it, man. When this is sim racing, it should be for fun regardless. And especially with no sponsor on your car to have to answer to, it should be 100% fun. And hopefully you can get yourself into the playoff this year. If you continue with these finishes, you might be a good contender for sure. But, man, floor is yours. Final thoughts before we let you go.
No, it was a great race. Thank everybody. Thank my team. I think that was a great team effort again. So see you next week, guys.
Yes, sir. That was the number 11 Alexander Hodge of the unsponsored Ford Mustang. And now we're going to switch it over to a very familiar sponsor and driver combo, the number 99 of Kevin Ruff of the BestOne Tire and Service Ford Mustang. Kevin, P2 at Daytona. Congratulations.
Thank you. Long night. Well deserved, I think.
Yeah, 100% there, man. You gave it all. You did a good job. You got involved in that wreck. It looked like the damage didn't affect you one bit, still bringing it on P2. 1, was that car affected at all by the wreck? 2, we need the new Mustang template. And 3, how did you survive that last lap?
Well, I had 1 minute and 4 seconds of damage. I ran a 200 lap open official Daytona 500, finished second, and that one too lost by 6/1000ths of a second. But kind of had a perspective of what was going to happen. And when I saw that wreck, I mean, the seas kind of parted. So I was just like, man, I hope I don't have a whole lot of damage. So when I went to pits and saw it was 1 minute and 4 seconds, I was like, I should be good. 2,000 RPM still. Yes, I need a new template. I definitely need a new template for sure. The Dark Horse looks a hell of a lot sexier. And then the last lap, I mean, I'll be blunt. It was more of me trying to stall a little bit and help my teammate at front row, Alexander Hodge. He pushed me to a win in Daytona last season. So I was trying to stall it and get down there and try to get him to victory lane. And it just didn't work out like it did. I will say that I probably threw the block of the year probably on James Catrone.
You sure did.
It's the Daytona 500. And less than 10 to go, man. You just got to balls to the wall. It's like they said in that ARCA race. I'm not lifting unless I see God or the checkers. So.
Yeah. And we love Mr. Andy Jankowiak, obviously, up in this neck of the woods here in New Jersey. And Kevin, you did such a great job tonight, man. We talked about how you were probably one of the favorites coming in. You're the most previous Daytona winner from, obviously, the summer race. Coming into here tonight, you had probably a lot of confidence. Really, and this is the thing about these races, man. It comes down to almost a crapshoot, but you still have to have the help behind you. You have to have the confidence. We saw Stealth Motorsports up here for a majority, if not half, maybe even more of the race than most drivers. And with you, man, coming home second tonight, you got to feel pretty good going into the rest of the season. What do you feel like's in store for you in 2024?
Man, I mean, Front row racing as a whole, I think we've got a good core of drivers this season. I really think we're going to have a good season. There's some really good, talented drivers in this league. I know we're a fixed series, but there's a couple drivers in this league that I could even toss up and say that they could have a fighting chance in the Coke Series if they had a good, reputable open shop set up supporting them. I mean, this is how good this league is. I think we're going to have a really good season. I feel really strong at the super speedways. That is definitely one of my upgrades this season is to get more on that. Like I know we're going to Atlanta, which I call a mini super speedway, but as a whole, I think these are our best opportunities to get some wins. And I feel like Front Row Racing is going to be a good team this year to compete in the top 5 week after week.
NASCAR refers to these things as drafting tracks now. It's a gross term, but I guess we have to live with it. I like the mini super speedway. That sounds better. But yeah, man, excellent job there. And floor is yours. Final thoughts before we let you go this evening.
I just got to give a shout out to Kyle, Alexander, and Senior for being in the race tonight. I hated that Fitz couldn't make it with some other stuff he had planned. Just a big shout out to the people that are watching this broadcast. I actually got a coworker that he texted me. He said, "Dude, we got practically a watch party over here on the couch watching you race." It's good to know. This is a hobby that I absolutely love and enjoy. When you battle stuff mentally, and you can find your escape zone, it helps you out in this kind of stuff. And lastly, I just got to thank BestOne Tire. They supported us again on another season in this league. They've done a lot of things for me personally, give me a lot of great opportunities where I represent the company, and just really thankful in real life for what I do for a living.
Heck yeah, man. Awesome there. Awesome way to close that interview out there. Congrats once more on P2, and we will catch you next week.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. That was number 99, Kevin Ruff, BestOne Tire and Service Ford Mustang driver. And now, to bring in the final driver here this evening, number 45, Nathan Campbell, with the Toyota Camry, sponsored by Super ATV. Nate, welcome to Victory Lane to start the season.
Yeah, that one feels good, guys.
I'm sure it does. We were counting on the 6. We were counting on a couple of drivers that looked really fast. But why did we go against Stealth Motorsports? I don't know. You guys somehow figured out a way to bring it home P1 there. Walk us through your event here this evening.
Oh, it was pretty dramatic, honestly. It was sketchy early. I got really aggressive early. I probably got too aggressive, but I just wanted to get out of the chaos and just get to the front early. So that worked out pretty well. Moving my way up there, and it's kind of a bummer there for my teammate Harold. It sucks for him getting caught up early on. Big shout out to him for all the Stealth paints, by the way. He's an awesome painter, so I really appreciate that. But no, after that caution, it was just at the worst time possible where everybody was just on the cusp of getting that one stop in. We came out that second time and just decided we had to back it down. We backed it down to about 50% throttle there, and kind of brought the rest of the field with us. And kind of talking to the rest of the guys, it sounded like they were good. So it was awesome that we were able to kind of play them a little bit and get them to hang back with us. And it worked out wonderfully. And then just again threw a block there at the end. Had to ditch my teammate, unfortunately, but I just saw it and I just had to take it. And I put a ton of laps in this week. Ran a Daytona 500. Ran a Road to Pro. Should have won a Road to Pro. Got taken out in the final corner. So definitely put some good runs in so far, and that felt amazing. That was an awesome way to start the season.
I knew it, Jeremy. We called it. We were thinking about if these guys were running 50% throttle. Nate just confirmed it. So we thought you guys were pulling yesterday's Daytona 500 off again with what we saw with the 50, 75% throttle. So good to know that that's what actually happened, because we were wondering what the hell happened with everybody getting these massive runs on you guys. But
yeah, we have reduced fuel this year. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, we saw that late in the going. 70% fuel capacity should make it really interesting for this season. But obviously, Nate, my question for you is, you head into this year, you were really and honestly, very blunt, pretty much the bridesmaid to your teammate Ryan Bean last year for a majority of the season. And, you were so strong, probably his best competition all year. Do you think you have what it takes this year to obviously top him, and really come out?
It's going to help. We changed up schedule a little bit, so we don't have as many road courses. But then we also did away with the chase. So, or do we still have a chase just with I can't remember exactly how it works, but either way, it's not going to come down to a championship race. I know there's going to be 3 or 4 races or something like that for the championship. So I think that's going to help me. I mean, it's going to force Bean to, put in good finishes every time. And, at the end of the day, as long as it's one of us up there, I think we're happy. We're really good friends too. So it's good to see. But no, I think I can beat him at ovals. I can't beat him at a road course, but I know I can beat him at some of the ovals. So it should be really interesting. We're gonna be duking it out all year, and it'll be interesting to see kind of who else steps up with Blake Howell leaving. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, it's good to see the point system kind of change around a little bit, so it's not like the actual real life stuff, and so it keeps it a little more exciting for us and for you guys, because it's not the old usual. So,
Yep.
congrats once more on P1, man. Awesome job to start the season. Hopefully that success continues for you and your whole team at Stealth Motorsports. But floor is yours. Final thoughts before we let you go.
Yeah, I just got to thank everybody. Hopefully my son's not up watching me right now, but I know he's gonna watch it back. So thanks to him, and thanks to all the friends and family tuning in. Just recently started a job a few months ago, Super ATV. So if anybody needs any Super ATV parts for your side by sides or ATVs, hit me up. I can drop ship it right to your house.
There you go, man. Awesome stuff for sure. Congrats once more, and we'll catch you next Tuesday.
Thanks, guys. Look forward to it.
Yes, sir. And that was the number 45, Nathan Campbell, bringing it home tonight. P1, new colors, but a familiar spot for that team in victory lane. Jason, up to 29 viewers concurrently. I think that tops any single race that we had last season for RSR, so I love the bump up in numbers. The racing did not let us down. We got flagged that we didn't call out any commercial breaks in the middle of the race. We just kind of did some shout outs. That's because there was just too much stuff going on track, right?
Yeah, there was definitely so much going on track. And listen, I absolutely love calling this series. These guys, when we came on board for them last year at the start of Atlanta, man, it was tough for us to know the names, know the teams, and now it's like it's secondhand nature to us over here at Nerd TV. So it's really fun to call these guys. They put on one hell of a show here tonight for us. Did not disappoint with the next gen car. Congratulations, obviously, to Nate Campbell, one of the guys we talked about, who's going to be a threat, through in and throughout this entire season. Cabin Ruff, you hear it in his voice. Last year, he was very emotional after winning Daytona. Not as emotional tonight because it's second. He wants to be first. But he still shows that the humbleness inside of him, of what he does on and off the virtual simulator there. Alexander Hodge, he says confidence, man. I love the confidence out of him. That's what you need as a sim driver. The second you don't have confidence, man, the second you're going right to the back. Does not matter where you're at, and you completely lose it. Momentum is a great factor to have. I'm really looking forward to Atlanta, I believe, is next week. So we go to another drafting track. That's going to be really interesting. Right back where we all started with RSR. I'm really looking forward to it, man. It's going to be one hell of a season for sure.
100% there. Awesome job there behind the camera work there, Dustin, aka Walter White, aka producer, whatever you want to call yourself right now, man. From your seat, how's the new commands going for you? I know you did a lot of work behind the scenes this season, or this off season rather, to make things smoother and cleaner. How'd that work out for you?
As long as I don't sit here and make little mistakes here or there, it went very well. Overall, though, you want my honest opinion about tonight? Man, I freaking love Daytona. I love the racing here. I love RSR. This was an amazing race. I mean, strategy, pit strategy, fuel mileage, threading the needles on wrecks. I mean, just you had a couple big ones in there, fighting it, duking it out. I mean, the dodging and the weaving there, coming to the checkered flag on the last lap, freaking amazing. Overall, I mean, just it was great. I got to give a shout out to again. I agree to with Kevin Ruff, the block of the century on Catrone. That was amazing to beyond belief. So I cannot wait for the rest of this season. It's going to be a good season all the way around, and I agree with Jason. I mean, it feels good. We're going to come full circle come next week and pick things up for the remainder of this season, right where we started last season. So sit tight, boys and girls, nerds of all ages, because it could be one hell of a ride.
Absolutely. Here, and we have a little hybrid closeout. We're going to thank all the RSR Next Gen sponsors, and then we have a little short video of thanking our sponsors. So first and foremost, RSR Next Gen Cup Series, run underneath the Evolution Racing League banner. Appreciate you guys for letting us do this for 2024. If you want to stay up to date with everything RSR related, head over to Facebook, facebook.com/RSR League. BestOne Tire and Service, looking for that one-stop automotive repair and tire shop. Visit bestonetire.com to find a location nearest you. Admin Box is built by iRacers for iRacers to be utilized in league and hosted races by admins in race control. Find them at adminbox.com. Waterford Concepts, an engineering and 3D specialist. Visit Waterford Concepts for your automotive, RC, and motorsports needs. And lastly, NJB Designs with 2 S's. So if you're looking for a one-of-a-kind way to showcase your sponsors, look no further than NJB Designs. All right, guys, that's it for us here from the Nerd Booth. We'll catch you this coming Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Until then, stay safe. Get your nerd on.
This presentation is brought to you in part by
Martin Sports. Get the apparel, look stylish, be badass with apparel from Martin Sports. martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag. Must-have flag marshaling system for any aspiring sim racer. Get yours today at iracingiflag.com. Boomer button boxes. Total sim control at your fingertips. boomerbuttonboxes.com. If you race hard, then you need to rock hard.
And no station gets you harder than
iRock935.com. If you're a collector and that's your game, then Dusty Pete's, that's the name. DustyPete's.com. TWRS. Got the rig? Got the sim? Now get the speed with setups from TeamWatsonRacing.com.